Yo, 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 what's up, everybody? Thank you for tuning in to yet again another fantastic indie creator interview. We're sitting with our returning guest, Trevor Mueller. We're here to talk about Demon City Volume 1, Hell on Earth, and everything in between. I love the premise of this, the concept of this. The interiors are so great. Trevor, before we dive into this, what's been up, man? How have you been since the last time you've been on the show?
You know, it's only been a couple of months. You and I were just talking about that before we went live, and it's been good. It's been wonderful. Again, you guys were very integral in the successful funding of my last Zoop campaign, which was Los Ojos, and now I'm returning to Kickstarter to fund Demon City, which is a completely new series and property. So I've just been busy making stories, making comics, working with artists, and loving life. So it's been a good time.
And then you're currently like already funded, right?
Yes, as of last night. So
Congratulations,
our very first
man.
week, we got funded for Demon City. So the rest of this is just stretch goals and cake.
Yeah.
Takes a lot of the pressure off, which is wonderful.
So how's that feel? I mean, the last campaign you ran was on Zoop. So were you a little nervous, like, you know, running a campaign on Kickstarter and kind of seeing where it was going to hit after taking a break from it?
I was 100%. I don't remember if I mentioned this last time or not when we talked about Los Ojos, but one of the reasons why I went with Zoop with that book was I hadn't done crowdfunding for a book since 2018. And so I was a little trigger shy to get some of these titles out there. One, they were very, very different from books that I'd funded before. And then two, I just wasn't sure how engaged my audience was going to be with a crowdfunding campaign. And working with the Zoop team and everything over there helped me kind of regain the confidence that I needed to try to launch my own Kickstarter campaign again. Because the Zoop campaign was successfully funded, I want to say in like July. And so Demon City now is funded here in October. So a spooky book for a spooky season, which was great. So it does take an enormous amount of pressure and weight off to know that you're funded in the first week. I also think that speaks considerably well to just how much readers really are resonating with this story and how much they enjoy the premise, as you mentioned earlier in the call. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm nothing but pure energy and adrenaline right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a cool concept. We have two, you know, buddy detectives, and then they're just complaining about coffee. You know, the one drinks the straight black. I relate to that, straight black coffee, you know. The other one was complaining about not having creamer, and then it's just a regular run-of-the-mill shift for them as police detectives. And then the apocalypse happens, but only for 30 minutes. And I really liked that idea. You know, whenever you hear about apocalypses, it's always stuff that happens and it just keeps going. Shit's hitting the fan. But the fact that this just happened and then stopped leaves a lot of mystery. And it was such a good segue to having demons stuck on Earth, having, you know, the four horsemen as mob boss is such an awesome touch. Chef kiss on that.
Thank you.
But, you know, I thought it was a really cool way, instead of just having demons on Earth, having the gateway from the apocalypse serve as the catalyst for that. You know, we have our main character, Sheila Garcia, in Chicago. I mean, do you hate Chicago? What's going on? Chicago is the quarantine zone for demons. Like, what's your beef?
No. So I was just trying to set a story somewheres other than New York and LA, because that feels like where a lot of buddy cop stories tend to take place. And because I live now north of Chicago, but, you know, I've been in the city or around the city for over 10 years now. I was like, why not do a story that is set in Chicago? And I haven't seen many buddy cop stories set in the Midwest. I think that there's a lot of opportunity for that. I mean, you've got situations like that with like Axel Foley from the Beverly Hills Cop series, because he's from Detroit, but he keeps going to Beverly Hills. But so again, it's like a Midwestern or taken out of his element and put into a coastal area, and so the story still takes place not in the Midwest. And I was like, why not have it there? And especially since for the longest time Chicago was a hub of filmmaking, and TV shows, and it still has a number of TV shows that still kind of get made here. But a lot of the movies and stuff have since moved to other cities, usually in Georgia, Atlanta, some of those places. So it just felt like a natural place to kind of put the setting. Plus, I can play with things in sequels in terms of like seasons, for example, which you don't necessarily get on at least like the West Coast all the time. So sequel might take place in the wintertime. We'll see.
Oh, that'd be really
Snowball's
cool.
chance in hell. What about hell having a snowball's chance in the winter in the Midwest?
Hey, maybe there's a little bit more to that than we know. It sounds like you might already have something started up. So Sheila, of course, hates demons. And she is a very brash, detective. She puts her partners in danger. She had like 4 of them like resign. And then her newest one resigned, and then she gets teamed up with Horace Nightengale, a demon detective. It was just, I was telling my significant other just how perfect everything was lining up. Man, this was such a good start. I had the chance to read, I want to say, the first 2 issues, and it's 168 full color deluxe hardcover. So Trevor, where did the idea come from? I mean, I was picking up Bright vibes pretty heavily, and but the way you went about it was just like perfect. I mean, what was your inspiration for this?
Yeah, I had an idea about kind of a urban fantasy, semi-post-apocalyptic kind of murder mystery, and whenever I approach an artist for the first time, I always ask them the question, like, what do you want to draw? And Marco has an aesthetic that works very, very well for kind of a crime noir setting. He really enjoys crime and murder mystery stories. And the line that he told me was, I want to draw a murder mystery as though it were written by Stephen King after he had read way too much Lovecraft. And I was like, boom, I think I've got the story. And so I sent him the premise, I sent him the idea, and he was like, I love it. And he just started sending me character designs. Like, before we even had a contract in place, we were working on this thing together. And you could just tell the love and enthusiasm that he had for it was there. And then what really kind of brought it together for me too, because his style works very, very well in black and white. And I really wanted to try to make a black and white book. But he had suggested perhaps doing splashes of color and putting color into the book. And so he introduced me to a colorist that he had worked with many, many times, Shan Bennion. And Shan has such intimate knowledge of color theory and crime noir, and really sold those pages that Marco was already turning in, and they were just already singing. Suddenly this became like a full band. Like it really, really brought everything home. So Shan's colors and Marco's art together were just this perfect marriage of visual storytelling, and especially within the aesthetics that we were trying to go for. And Shan also kind of operated a little bit as like a sensitivity reader for me, because this is, my second mature readers book that I was working on. I had things in there that I thought might be funny, but I was like, I don't know if this is actually funny. Like I need somebody to kind of gut check me on this. And Shan would sit there and be like, okay, when you get to the punchline, that's funny. So we worked just really, really well as a collaborative unit. And then Micah Myers doing the letters and bringing it all home, right? Making sure that the written part of the story were coming in there. So it was an incredible team. First time I had worked with Marco and Shan, but not the last time I'm working with them, because I've already got other projects that I'm working on with the 2 of them right now, including the Pots and Panels anthology, which I think launched today on Kickstarter.
Yeah, I literally just I was invited and I missed out. I life just came at me like life does, and I slipped, and once I realized, I was like, I'm not gonna have time to find an artist for this. I wanted to so bad, but I'm still gonna panel stuff out and just keep it loaded. Write up a script, keep it loaded, because you never know. I really, really loved not only just how crazy the concept of this is, Sheila as a protagonist, but just how deep it gets too. We see at one point in issue 1, Horace goes back to where it all began and is reflecting, and you could tell Sheila's like, get back down there, you demon scum. And Horace is like, this is, for some, you know, this is an opportunity to just be scum, but for others, it's a chance at redemption. You know, we learned that Horace used to torture people. So that's, you know, he is maybe like turning a new leaf and embracing that lifestyle. And it really opens a lot of different questions. You know, what happens when Horace has to go back? Does Horace have to go back? And I love the way issue 1 kind of set the tone. How many issues are in the volume? Like, because I know after, you know, what I assumed was either chapter 1 or issue 1, it, you know, said to be continued. So how many like individual like issues are in this?
Yeah, so we have 6 chapters at 24 pages a chapter. So the story itself with covers and stuff comes out to about 160 of the 168 pages. And then we're going to have 8+ pages of back matter in there to fill it all in. So yeah, so 6 chapters, and this volume does wrap up the entire murder mystery that they are working on. So you do get a completed story in this trade.
And the murder mystery itself, it's already been spoiled, so we could talk about it. Death has been killed. And it's insane because with the demons coming onto Earth, you know, you have new drugs, you have new weapons, we have ammunition called brimstone, which just like is like a grenade launcher, it looks like. And the way the visuals in this are, they're gorgeous. You know, it's like the right amount of gore without being overdone. And then your colorist, like, is just murdering the colors. Like when there was one part in particular where they're driving off and you see the siren, just like the light like kind of bleed around a bend, and it was such a beautiful panel. What's the collaboration process look like between you guys? Like, do you just have like your script set in stone? Do you like to have the artists kind of just do what they want to do? Like, what's that look like?
Yeah, it's a little bit of both. So I usually have the script set up as a full script format. So like, this is the way I see the story in my head. If the artist has ideas for ways to make things look better on the page, I'm always open to those ideas, and Marco will sometimes make suggestions. Shan, when I first got introduced to them, had turned in a couple of sample pages, and I didn't quite get what Shan was going for at first, because my own experience with color theory was just not as advanced as theirs was. And it took a couple of conversations between the two of us for me to kind of finally click and understand like what they were going for with the neon colors. And like, you know, you mentioned the brimstone rounds, like those are sulfur, and sulfur is like a neon yellow color. And so neon yellow kind of became this theme throughout the entire story. Every time there's, you know, demonic drug use or there's weird kind of demonic stuff going on, Shan emphasizes that with this bright yellow color. That kind of showcases the sulfur, the brimstone nature of hell. And at the time, I didn't know if I liked it or not. And then as I started to see it more and more, like it grew on me, and it started to become kind of the visual aesthetic of this book. And I really, really enjoyed it. So Shan in my book has carte blanche to do whatever they want when it comes to colors, like because they are operating at a level that is far surpassing mine when it comes to color. And then Marco and I will just go back and forth. Like the real collaboration between the two of us really was in the covers. And it was, how do we make these covers kind of interesting and dynamic? And we went back and we looked at a lot of buddy cop movie posters, Lethal Weapon, Die Hard, Bad Boys, like those types of movies. And then just started to try to insert our characters into those. And then how do we make these kind of visually appealing within a world that is populated by demons, right? Can we put flying demons in it? Can we put, dog demons in it? What kind of stuff does he want to design and draw? Let's insert that into these covers and into some of these pages.
And I also really enjoyed too, like the demons kind of taking on more of a criminal role in this, like seeing how some of them, you know, acclimated to just normal life while others were robbing banks and just ripping people apart. And you know, death gets killed in this and everything. Real quick, let's reflect on chat. We have Two Geeks Talking, two of my favorite people, Black Coffee FTW. Welcome on in, Kurt. I hope you have your coffee brewing as well. We have our good friend Silverbolt over on Twitch saying I miss ElfQuest, and Zach Wiener Soup throwing some emojis in chat as well. Welcome, guys. I hope you're all having a fantastic morning. So we have Sheila and Horace, a person who hates demons and a demon, and it's such a fun dynamic. I really, really, really loved the beginning part where we're meeting Sheila, we're meeting her old partner, and then you have the flash forward of 3 years and you see a picture of them just on a nightstand and they're doing like the rabbit ears, and you could piece it together and you're like, oh no, like our dude's dead, like this is horrible. And just like the way you kind of dove into her day-to-day life, phone calls with the mom, meeting up with the ex-wife, I presume.
The ex-wife of her former partner.
Yes, yep. And just like the small attention to details, like I just thought was so clever. And then Horace, feels a little rough around the edges. Explain this dynamic to us. Like, when you were crafting these two characters, what type of like character were you like basing them off of, or what was you going for each one?
Sure. Well, within any buddy cop story, you always have kind of like the rogue, out there, rebellious character, and then you have the more put together kind of character. And I didn't want to make it as black and white as that, but that was the starting foundation for these two characters. Sheila has PTSD. She has literally lived through the apocalypse, and not everyone that she knows has, and it has changed her. And she has kind of acquired a little bit of a death wish. She has become very reckless in her job, and that's why so many of her past partners have abandoned her or tried to get as far away from her as possible, because she has become dangerous to herself, to other people around her. So she is kind of our Riggs, right? If you're looking at Lethal Weapon, like she's kind of the Mel Gibson character in there that's a little off the wall and a little crazy. And then Horace Nightengale, he's not too old for this shit. He's not Danny Glover, but he's a little bit more put together, and he has, as the first demon detective, kind of an almost ambassadorial role to play. He has to represent his people and show that not everyone necessarily acts in a criminal mindset. And there are demons out there within the story too that you'll encounter that don't all necessarily live in that world of drugs and crime and those things, but we get to see a little bit more of that through Horace's character. And Horace has a bit of a mysterious past, right? We don't know much about him before he came here, but the two of them are really kind of a perfect marriage, because if she's trying to sit there and run into situations where there are bullets flying, he's bulletproof. Like, I mean, sulfur rounds would take him out, but like regular bullets and stuff, he's okay. And so the two of them, as the story continues, just like any good buddy cop story, they always start off on opposite ends, and then they have to come together for kind of this common cause and this common purpose. And I like that opposites attract element to these characters, and the fact that they can learn and grow together through each other's words and actions. So again, I was really trying to tap into kind of those classic buddy cop elements. Alien Nation, if you ever watched that back in the day, right, with Rakeem O'Brien created that movie and then TV show, but that was another big influence there, where it showcased kind of a sci-fi buddy cop element, and the cool things that you could get into there is trying to kind of do something similar but with more supernatural or religious elements to it.
And I really enjoyed, I mentioned this earlier, but just the attention to detail. You mentioned the Four Horsemen. I don't know if we even see them, but like just the reference of them being mob bosses was so cool, and the implications of the type of mob that they're going to be running. I'm very excited for that. And Death itself, he's such a piece of shit in this, and I loved how demented you got with it. Trevor, are you doing okay?
I'm doing fine. This was a COVID baby for me, right? This story was a COVID baby, and so it was taking some of those things that I was feeling, or some of those things that I was kind of channeling, and then putting it into a fictional world, and then just like any good fiction, right, emphasizing the crap out of it, so that suddenly people might actually start to worry about me personally. I swear I'm doing fine. But what I liked about this was the personification of the 7 deadly sins, the personification of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. Not all of them made it over during the end of days event. Like, some of them are still potentially trapped in hell or are still missing. And so you have what I call the pantheon, the ruling class of demons that made it over into Earth, and how they're trying to kind of run their businesses together. And Death, of course, is a part of that. And one of them, Death, has died. He has been killed. And the big twist within the story is, well, now that Death is gone, nobody else can die either. Because the person who takes you out of this mortal coil and brings you to your final resting place is no longer in the job. They have been murdered. And how does somebody murder somebody from the pantheon, and why would somebody do it? And these are the compounding mysteries that I think make this story kind of fun and interesting, certainly for me as a writer, and hopefully for people as readers, to start to peel back those layers and understand what's really going on here, and why have these things occurred.
So at the end of the day, for readers out there, what's a takeaway you want them to have when they finish this book? Any different change of perspectives or outlooks on the world? Like, what are you hoping readers get from this?
It's a great question. I was purposely trying to avoid allegory and metaphor with some of the characters, or at least in terms of classes of the characters, right? Like, not all demons represent this,
Hmm.
but for me, it was again kind of about that opposites attract, that opportunity to overcome hurdles with somebody that you don't necessarily get along with, and trying to work together towards a common cause, which is something that I don't think happens enough these days. We're too easy and quick to kind of shoot down people who may think differently than us about a particular topic, or to prejudge people based on how they look. And
Hmm.
Horace kind of becomes this person who, as the story progresses, like, you keep learning new and new things about Horace, and it was not stuff that you were probably expecting to learn. And similarly with Sheila, like, she's got her own ghosts in the closet that she's trying to hide and work through, and those pieces. So there's kind of who we are on the surface, and then who we are behind the scenes that we don't
Yeah.
necessarily reveal to people. So for
Uh,
people who are looking for deeper meaning in the story, they're going to get to enjoy that. For people who like a surface level buddy cop action murder mystery, they've got that to contend with as well in here. And we've got high speed car chases, we've got demon brawls, we've got giant shootouts and fistfights.
mhm.
I just tried to pack it with everything that I loved about watching buddy cop stories back in the day, and put that into this book. And we had a lot of fun making it, and it seems like people are having a lot of fun getting ready to read it.
So for everyone that is watching, right, there is a link. Once again, be sure to pull up the Kickstarter and check it out yourself today. If you're able to back, we would love to see it. But simply putting this on Facebook and Twitter costs you absolutely nothing. Word of mouth always helps. Some of the most, too, because you might have a couple friends who like it. And that's going to be a couple backings that would have never happened if it wasn't for you. So help us keep it geekly by sharing today. I love that. I think I just came up with something new, Trevor. I think we just coined something new on the show. So let it be known. We are checking
Cody,
out Demon.
You need to put that on a t-shirt.
Yes, yes. We are looking at Demon City Volume 1, Hell on Earth. Death has been murdered. Now no one can die. And that's interesting in itself, right? Like, how long does this go on for? At some point, the world's going to get overpopulated. We're going to be just screwed. Is this animals too, or is it just humans? Like,
Everything cannot die. And what I liked about this, and kind of the dichotomy of the title too, was, yes, demons from hell now live among us, so hence hell on earth. But also, now that nobody can die, people who might need to die, or people whose time it is to die, also cannot pass on.
mhm.
And so we almost kind of create our own torturous version of hell on earth within the story as well. So the subtitle unintentionally had two different meanings, which I really enjoyed.
We're just checking out some of these interiors right here, and just absolutely gorgeous. The color palettes that were used. You have this scene, and then a few pages later you have like the darkness of Chicago and like grimy crime scenes and explosions. It's jam packed with colors, and it is just beautiful. And I feel like all your work has always had like such like vibrant and like just beautiful like colors and visuals in them.
Yeah, and again, Shan just kept blowing me away with the colors that they were putting into these pages. And to your point too, right? Like, that dichotomy of what happens pre end of days versus post end of days, where things become a lot less colorful. They become a little bit more desaturated, or you might get these pops of noir color with the reds and the yellows. And again, Shan really understood the assignment and just sold it with all these pages. So I was extremely impressed, and very excited to continue to work with Shan on these projects. And the way that the colors complement the artwork that Marco was turning into, again, just blew my mind.
And right here we have that sulfur explosion, and now that I know yellow is like what that's intended for, it makes it just hit so much harder.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, the sulfur and brimstone, right, are real things. They exist today, and they are acidic. I mean, they burn. And so having these situations where now those have been weaponized in a way that cops just cannot keep up. It's not going to stop. Body armor is not going to stop it, right? Like, nothing's going to be able to stop it. It can blow up their cars like a grenade. I mean, it's extremely, extremely dangerous. And I enjoyed these sample pages in particular because this was kind of like the first 8-ish pages of the story, because you finally get a sense of who Sheila is, right? Everyone else is
Mm-hmm.
running away from this situation where these demons are robbing this bank and using sulfur rounds to blow up cars, and she's the one walking towards the danger. And I loved that about her character.
And I love too, we see him injecting the drug inside himself to kind of like get this Bane effect. Like he gets all veiny and huge and blows up. And just her partner's like, God damn, I didn't sign up for this.
Yep, 100%. Well, and if you look at the panels before that too, right? If you go up to the previous page and then to this page, right, where they're talking about how they need backup, they need SWAT here, and they're like, detective, don't go in there, like backup's on the way, and she's like, I am the backup. Like nobody else is coming, it's me. And I liked that. I think that spoke very well to her personality, and I thought that was a solid introduction for her within the story.
Beautiful, beautiful panels. And then we have the characters, of course, Detective Sheila Garcia and Detective Horace Nightengale. Let's go ahead and check out some of the rewards. So we have the digital edition for 15, the digital deluxe at 25. You can get a hardcover edition. Keep in mind, 168 pages for $35, and the hardcore deluxe at 50. And that deluxe is going to include the scripts, sketches, and some behind the scenes as well. The scripts are always amazing. Kind of seeing how the artist interprets the writer's words and writing. It's always beautiful to just see that collaboration in that process.
And then because I've been doing this for such a long time too, I've had requests from fans to get access to the entire library of stuff that I have been working on. So yeah, you get Demon City. Yeah, you can also get Los Ojos, which again was funded on Zoop, either digital or physical through add-ons or through the digital library or print library editions. My Albert the Alien series, which was nominated for 2 Harvey Awards, so there's 4 volumes there. That's over 800 pages in those 4 volumes. The Witches of Eastwick Boulevard series, that's 24 pages per book times 5. I can't do math. 130 odd some pages of story with that one. So those single issues are available too. And then some of the one-off stories that I ended up doing with Consumer, Beyond the Pillars, Junkyard Chase, and The Fan. So those are all available on there as well, either in a packet as a reward tier or as add-ons through the add-on section.
And I mean, at $200 for a print library for that much, you'd have like a whole winter's worth of just reading in that bundle in itself. We have art edition, $100, so limit of 5. You get a print edition of the book, digital deluxe as well, and then a digital commission of your choice from the artist. You can make an appearance in the story too at $150. So this would be in. So there is a volume 2. You're sly, Trevor. I see you.
Yeah. So you can get. So volume 1 is done. Like you can't get drawn into volume 1 because we already finished it, and we're just using this campaign to fund the printing of the book. But you can get drawn into volume 2, and I've already got ideas for what we're doing for volume 2. I can definitely see this being an ongoing series if the fans want it. But my goal with volume 2, similar to volume 1, is again create a murder mystery and use the volume to solve that mystery. So it's almost like a movie. Like it's not an episode of a TV show. It's a complete story that you get within the confines of that volume.
And there's you have such. I love it too because the world you have created. You have so many people to pick and choose from and so many different things to play with, and it's like, this is awesome. It's like I don't even know, like the Sopranos of hell, it feels like.
Right. And with the appearance edition too, you can either appear as a human or a demon. Your pick. You decide.
And we have some stretch goals too, so we got a pinup reveal at 4,000, bookmarks at 5,000, and then something special at 10. So you guys have to back to help that stretch goal hit it, so we can find out what's behind this $10,000 tier. Add-ons, of course. We have some print pinups.
So the pinups, right? So again, we just hit 4,000. We hit it before I thought we would get it. So I don't have the artwork for the final pinup just yet. It's coming to me on Thursday. But because we hit the goal, I have revealed that the final pinup is from Ben Templesmith.
Okay.
So we're getting John Bivens, who's worked on like Heavy Metal and Dark Engine and a number of different titles there. Robert Carey from DC's Outsiders, did a fantastic pinup of the two main characters, and then Ben Templesmith is going to be turning in that third one. So as soon as that becomes available, I will be sharing that artwork out since we have unlocked that stretch goal.
That is awesome. And then of course we have volume 1, Los Ojos. I know last time we interviewed, I struggled so hard with that. Every time I see it, it's like the bane of my existence. I'm like, come on now, don't make me do it. Don't make me do it.
It's the Spanish, my friend, the Spanish. I get it. And then Witches of Eastwick Boulevard, again, all the issues are available either individually or you can get all 5 of them. I put a bundle together because I guess the shipping was acting funny in the add-ons. Albert Volume 1 through 4, again, are available in the add-ons either as an individual trade or all 4 of them. And then again, the single issues, I think these are all digital editions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That is awesome. So Trevor, with that being said, you've been on the show, you know the drill. For anyone who is on the fence about backing, what would you like to say to them directly to help push them over that hump and get them to back today?
If you guys like a solid murder mystery, if you like world building in an urban fantasy setting, if you like action and violence and all kinds of things, crime noir and murder mystery, you're going to love Demon City. And you don't have to just take my word for it. We kind of skimmed over the praise section in the Kickstarter there. Mark Waid loves it. Philip Kennedy Johnson loves it. Alex Segura loves it. All of these people that I reached out to in the industry that are friends of mine have just sat there and said, I would not tell you this if it were not true. Mm-hmm. This book is amazing. So if you like a good story, again, you can get it at the digital edition if you like to read your books on the go, or if you're a little bit more price conscious. If you want the physical edition to look pretty on your bookshelf, that is also available on there, or you can get them both combined. And then finally, again, even if you can't pledge to it, as you said, Cody, sharing that link is so incredibly helpful to get that out in front of people. So I appreciate any and all support that people can give to this campaign.
So Trevor, I've read a lot of your work previously. That's the beauty of doing these interviews for so long. And one thing I've noticed is you're really good at putting breadcrumbs in the story, having, you know, meaning in your writing, and having everything kind of just like come full circle and just wrap things up perfectly. For the writer out there that is struggling with putting breadcrumbs in their storytelling, mm-hmm. What would be your biggest piece of advice to kind of help them, you know, get better adapted to doing so?
You know, it depends, because even for me in projects, it varies as to whether or not I start with what the crime is, and then I have to pepper in the clues afterwards, or if I have an idea for a really cool clue, and then I, you know, have to kind of build the mystery around those. For this particular story, the murder is not the crime. So that's what I will say, is the murder is not the crime. It's just a crime that happens in there. And I loved that aspect of this particular story, and the opportunity to just keep yourself guessing, right? If you know what the answer is, if the answer comes easily to you, it's probably going to come easily to the reader. Challenge mm-hmm. yourself to see if you can come up with something better, something unexpected, something that they did not see coming. Because that's what I think will really make it fun and an interesting challenge for a writer. But also it's going to keep readers on the edge of their seat because they're not going to know what comes next. Awesome
advice there. Trevor, last but not least, what have you been up to? What are you watching? What are you reading? Have you had a chance to check out The Penguin yet?
I've not had a chance to watch The Penguin yet. I'm a little behind the times on new streaming things. My wife and I are really enjoying Only Murders in the Building on Hulu. Mm-hmm. And that has kind of gotten us down a rabbit hole of some classic movies. So we've been watching like classic Steve Martin, classic Martin Short, John Candy films from back in the day. Mm-hmm. And so we've really kind of been enjoying a little bit of a nostalgic kick with some classics that way. And outside of that, like, you know, I'm reading the Jack Reacher books, because those mm-hmm. are, again, kind of a fun thriller mystery series. Thinking about possibly doing my own novels, actually, for some stuff, because my webtoons are both wrapping up. Repossessed, I think the final episode just went live today on FastPass, and it goes live for free Halloween week. Okay. So that'll be great. And then Nexus Point, we're still working on the final 15 episodes of that right now. I finished my part, like the writing is done. It's just on the art duties and trying to get the team to continue to mm-hmm. work on that at a steady pace. And Webtoon has been thankfully very accommodating to how long we've been taking to kind of work on those final 15 episodes, so that the team can take the time that they need to do it and do it in a sustainable way, because the webtoon pace can be pretty exhausting. And then outside of that, like I'm pitching a lot of projects. I'm working on some movies with friends of mine, and then I've got 8 unannounced projects right now through a publisher.
Wow.
Yeah. So I've been very lucky to have an editor that really likes me and continues to throw work my way, because I'm doing this full time now. Like this is what I do, is I write comics. And then I think in the near future, now that we've got funding, I need to actually put pen to paper and start writing down Demon City Volume 2. So so we'll start working on that one next. But yeah, that's it. Again, I like to have a lot of irons in the fire, and between all the comic projects, the webtoon projects, new stuff that I'm pitching, trying to do movies, trying to learn how to do novels, my days are pretty full, which is a good thing to be.
And you know, it's the beauty of it. We're both parents, and it's like figuring out how to fit this into the schedule, and just doing it is rewarding in itself, is it not? Like, you know, like knowing you're raising, you know, however many little ones. Like at this point, I forgot how many I got. It's just, they're everywhere. But like finding the moment to kind of do what you love and follow your passion and still be able to do that, you know, it's a perfect balance, and that's, you know, that's what we love. So everyone watching, right there's the link. Be sure to check it out. I hope you all have a lovely Tuesday, but most importantly, guys, keep it geekly.